स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। The topic that we are going to discuss today is the essence of feeling a bliss through the feeling of the divinity, whether we are doing the spiritual practices or whether we are attending the daily core, our work, our commitments in the mundane life. So how to feel this divine bliss in all walks of life as well as in our spiritual practices. That is what I am trying to explore about. So it is something like associating the philosophy of divinity in everything, and we as the spiritual aspirants always begin our day as soon as we get up with a remembrance of God. We feel the glory of God, and also we feel the divinity of the self, because we are studying, we are initiated, we are doing meditation and all that. So whatever we do, whether it is a meditation, whether it is a puja, or whether it is a prayer, or whatever we are doing, like Parayana of Lalita Sahasranama or Vishnu Sahasranama, etc., etc. Everything we must feel the association with the divinity of our Ishtadevata, divinity of the God, and also the divinity of the self. So suppose if we are doing the puja with the flowers, leaf, water, we have to feel that we have not created all these fruits, flowers and leaves. The God has created, and we are offering the objects that which are created by the God to the God himself, as as it goes in the Bangla language, that Ganga Jale Ganga Pusha. There will be a worship of Ganga in a year, and we use the Ganga Jal, the Ganga water, only for the worship of Ganga, because there is no water which is purer than Ganga. So when we do this, we feel purified, and we feel expanded, and we feel exalted. So when we are doing this puja, a small puja, in our prayer hall, or in our prayer room, or in our own room, we feel our soul is expanded, and we merge into the person who has created this. And also when we are doing this kind of puja or worship or meditation, we have to merge ourselves with a Virat. We should feel that the God is covering the whole space wherever we see. That's what we can see when Arjuna describes the Vishwa Rupa Darshana, that Pashyami Devams Tava Deva Dehe Sarvans Tata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan, etc., etc. He is seeing the God who he has occupied from the earth, the surface of the earth, to the sky. And also we see in the Chandi Pada Kranta Natabhum Kirito Likithambaram, the Durga who has manifested to kill the Mahishasura. She has covered the whole sky, from the ground up to the sky. That's what the shlokas described. So whenever we are doing the worship, we have to associate ourselves with a huge thing, with an enormous thing, which is the conscious itself. So that's what the Bhagavata says, Yadyadishtamam loke yachchati priyamatmanaha tat nivedayen mahyam tadanantyaya kalpate. This is what Sri Krishna is telling. Whatever is dear to you, suppose some flower is very dear to us, some kind of color of the cloth is very dear to us, whatever is there, we have to offer all those things to the God. Then there itself, you have to feel that you are offering it to the Ananta, which has no end. Then once you feel like that, that goes to the Ananta Padmanabha himself. And second aspect is that whatever spiritual practices, whatever puja and prayer that we are doing, we feel a sort of a little relief from the mental stress, from the anxiety, and from the fear. So when we do all this prayer, we go to the Word, and when we go to the Word, we should see God in each and every being. That's what Swami Shivakantanandaji has prescribed as what is called the Seva Yoga. That service is an important thing in the spiritual life. We should do, no doubt, a lot of japa and meditation. But what is the test of the effect of this japa and meditation in our daily life? The effect of this japa and meditation in our daily life is the attitude of seeing the God in others. This is what Swami Vivekananda told in the temple of Shiva at Rameshwaram. He said, the worship of the human being in the form that is around you is a better worship than worshipping the idol in the temple. So, when we see the God in the human being, especially in the suffering, then only we can see that we are progressing spiritually. Just now we heard the ambulance sound. Suppose if somebody has fallen, some accident has happened when you are coming back from the office or you are coming back from the college, somebody has met the accident and no one is there to attend. Will you sacrifice your time? Will you sacrifice your entertainment? You may be planning to go to a movie, or you want to spend the time with your family, or you want to watch the serial in your room, but you don't feel for him who has fallen, who has met the accident, who has to be taken to the hospital in the street, then the progress in the spiritual life has not happened, because you are not attending the God who is suffering now. So you have to, the test of our progress in the spiritual life, the test of our bliss that we are having in our spiritual life is tested right here when someone is suffering, and when we drop our selfish pleasure for the service of the person who is suffering. So you may have to spend a few days with him if nobody is there anyone is there to attend him, or you may have to spend the money from your pocket, and perhaps he is a very poor person. That person's wife and children will come in a ragged cloth. They do not have the money even to eat, even to do anything, because the person who is earning the money in their home is now in the hospital. So all these test the divinity of us and the progress of what we are, the sadhana we are doing. And are we seeing the God in them? Are we seeing the God in that person and also in his family? Are we ready to sacrifice our own comforts and go out even to sell our belongings, because the wealth is the God himself, not the objects or not the money that we are possessing with us or which we have kept in the bank. So this is the aspect of service also is an important thing. And when we sacrifice our own things, when we sacrifice our own pleasure, when we sacrifice our own time, when we forget that we have to keep something for our people, and when we give it to others, there is a joy. That joy cannot be compared to the joy we enjoy through the objects. So the divinizing everyday's life is the test of our spiritual practice. We find the bliss in divinizing everyday life. Otherwise, our life will be always between the bliss and the sorrow. We think that by doing the worship, by doing the meditation, we will be blissful. When we are attending something other than that, when we are attending and doing our work, then we become agitated, we become stressed, we become sorrowful. That is not the way to be a real human being, because we ourselves are gods. We have to give the expression of the divinity that is inside, that should flow outside, then only we feel the bliss. When the divinity within us is covered with this ignorance, then there will not be a bliss inside and there will not be a bliss outside also. So divinizing everyday life will not happen just by sitting for puja, worship and meditation in the morning and evening. It will happen when our divine mood pours out of our heart throughout the day. We should develop a synthetic vision, wider perspective at the back of our limited existence, our limited consciousness and our limited joys. There is one undivided infinite being manifesting himself through every individual, and that individual includes not only us, all the people who are around us. So we have to offer everything to God. That is the highest form of worship, and if we are capable of doing this form of worship, then only we will be blissful throughout the day. We will not remain as a lower person. We will become higher and higher, like a banyan tree. Will not be like a small shrub who will satisfy its own selfish needs. Like a banyan tree, whoever comes to our shelter, not only we will be happy, the people around us also will be happy. The best examples that we find in divinizing the life and being always blissful, we find in the life of Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna. We know how Holy Mother led the life, and it is a vast thing to deal with all the aspects of Holy Mother's mood and her divine play. But what we can get from the Holy Mother's life, a simple matters, that how she was able to give the bliss, the love through her work, through her services, and through her motherly presence. So while Mother was in Jainambati, she had so much of work, and in the height of it, there was no electricity in those days, so she had to depend on the fuel, and whatever is available there, very meager. The village, we had to bring the things from outside. So much of work, she was not allowing any of her children to do it. She used to do herself everything and hide all those burdens within herself. Yet she was very, very humble in all her dealings. And she had a very old hurricane lamp, and that hurricane lamp of the olden days, it had no glass. It was full of a complicated mesh in the chimney so that the wind will not come and extinguish the lamp. So whenever there is a soot collected in the lamp, we should be very careful to remove it and to clean the chimney, clean the mesh and put it back. So with all those work, this cleaning of the hurricane lamp, because if you do not clean the hurricane lamp, you will not be having any light during the night. So she used to tell that this machine, this instrument is too complicated for me. I cannot do this much of complicated cleaning and all that. Yet she was so careful not to break it. With all her so much of work, she never broke that hurricane lamp. But yet she was very humble to admit that she is not in a position to handle this kind of complicated things. And she pointed out to one of the Calcutta girl, telling that she is much better than me because she can wind the clock. So she used to tell that she is so efficient that she is able to wind the clock, and I do not know how to wind the clock. So that shows how humble she was. And even though she was so efficient in her household work, rarely she became angry. She did not blurt it out. She did not scold at anyone. She was doing everything. Sometimes she was not having any rest. Sometimes she was having fever, sick, and she had rheumatism in her legs. In spite of all that, she never grumbled. She used to be humble, and she used to say, I have not done much to my children. So this was her attitude during the work, and she was appreciating the small children who are able to do a few work, like winding the cloth also she is appreciating. And another example we see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, where he goes to the Star Theatre of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and someone informs Girish Chandra Ghosh that Sri Ramakrishna has arrived. As soon as he heard the news that Sri Ramakrishna has arrived, he came out and he received some Thakur. And this Paramahamsa Deva first bowed down to Girish Chandra Ghosh, and Girish Chandra Ghosh returned with a salute. Again Sri Ramakrishna bowed down to him. Again Girish Chandra Ghosh bowed down. Again Sri Ramakrishna bowed down to him, thinking that the whole day will be lost in returning the salutes. Girish stopped it and received Sri Ramakrishna and took him to the gallery. So this kind of humility, later on GC, that is Girish Chandra Ghosh, tells that no one can beat master in any aspect. So Girish stopped short of this exercise, lest this salutation will go on forever. That is the example that we see how humble they were in their life. This humility is the mark of divinity. And when avatars come and they show such kind of humility, we see in the life of Sri Krishna also, where he accepts the offerings of Sudama, a humble beaten rice, and he rejects the offerings of the Duryodhana and other people at other point of time. So this humility is the mark of divinity, and if we have some ego, that shows that we are not progressing well. We do not have the bliss inside. So if our behavior is humble, we will be able to crush our ego, and our heart becomes very light. We don't feel, Naninthono, I am great, I am so much, I don't have this itself is something like a stone, something like an iron ball which sits in our heart and it becomes heavy. So remove your ego and become like a child. Your heart becomes so light that people will start coming to you. When we are in the office or when we are inside the house with our family, when we are egoless, when we are humble, when we have first to go and give something to others, then people will be very happy to receive you. They will be very joyous to be around you. And when you are cheerful, when you are humble, your office will be a mart of joy. Your house will be a mart of joy. And there will be a tenseless atmosphere, stressless atmosphere when you go around your office and home. Not only you will be able to make a happy bubble. Nowadays we talk about the we were in the bubbles. Cricket players say we were in the bubble, COVID bubble. So we can create a big bubble of joy and happiness. Wherever you go, you can draw the people into your bubble of joy and make them to feel the bliss of the divinity. Not only you are enjoying that bliss in your heart, many people are able to enjoy in your presence what is the divine bliss. So when we do this, people will lose their bitterness and animosity, and your colleagues and your family, your members becomes happy. And when so many gods are moving in and around, the whole world becomes a joy, a heaven here itself. So another wonderful Opanesha of the mother, which is very important in our life, not only in the spiritual life, even for the ordinary life. One Mahavakya-like thing she gives at the end of her life, that she says, seeing fault in others is a very bad thing. So she says that do not see the fault in others. So at another incident, she tells, man finds faults with others after bringing down his own mind. To that level, does anything happen to another if you enumerate his faults? It only injures you. So when we see somebody's fault, that fault enters into our mind first. So as soon as we see the fault in others, it is sure that the mind has already dropped down. And we start talking about it, not for 1 minute or 2 minutes. We keep on talking about the fault of others for hours and hours together. Earlier, in those earlier days, we used to talk to the people who come in front of us. Now we talk in the mobile about the fault of others for hours and hours together. So this happens, and she is clearly telling it only injures you. As much you draw something like a knife and put it to your heart, as long as you have put this knife of fault finding in others into your heart, your heart starts bleeding. You will be filling the filth of others into your mind. You will not be able to purify your mind. When your mind is not pure, where is the bliss? So mother says further, learn to make the whole world your own. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. This is nothing but the Vedanta. The whole world, making your whole world as your own, is nothing but seeing the divinity in each and everything, animate and inanimate. The whole world is your own. So why do you hate people? Love everyone. So this philosophy of love, not the love that we talk about, it is a pure love. The love, the divine love, the love that the God gave to his devotee, that kind of pure love, blemishless love, is what the mother is telling about. Once a small child came to see mother at Udbodhan. She was about to go to Jairam Bhatti. Udbodhan is the place where mother used to stay when she is in Calcutta. So this holy mother, it came running, a small child, the girl, small girl, it came running to mother, and mother told that I am going to Jairam Bhatti. And mother asked that small child, darling, you have been visiting me for a long time. Do you love me? That child said, yes, I love you very much. Then mother asked, how much? Then that girl stretched her arms as wide as she can and as wide as she could and said, that much. And mother became very happy. That is the pure love. The mother gave the love to the child, and child is so pure that it has the bliss of the love of the mother, Holy Mother, which gave it to her, and it is telling you, go and come back, no problem. I can feel the presence, your presence in Udbodhan. because I love you so much. So that love is the bond between the mother and child, and that is the pure love, that which is not physical, which is given for the sake of giving without expecting anything in return. Rather, expect the hatredness from the people whom you love, but don't do any business with this love. When there is a business with the love, then there will be misery also. And all the love that we express in our life is the love of business. We love someone because we expect them to give some pleasure to us. If there is an expectation, that love will not bring us the divine bliss. If we want, we have to give that kind of pure, blemishless love which the Holy Mother exhibited in her life to all her children. Friend, that such kind of love flows like a nectar from our heart, then our heart will be filled with the love of God. And that is the secret that happens in our heart only. We enjoy that God inside. No one can see how much of joy is there in your heart. Only they can see something, like when we see the photo of Holy Mother herself, we see something, we feel something, but what is happening in the heart between the Devata inside and the devotee, no one can see. So when we express this kind of love, then our heart will be always filled with the divine love, and that divine love gives you the divine bliss. So Holy Mother's love was much deeper than ordinary mother's love. She was, because she is the creatrix, she is the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karini. Her love expanded, you can see in her life, it expanded to cat, dog, birds, calf, and fish, and everywhere she used to express. So through our daily spiritual practice, through our intense striving, whenever the mundane world permits us, whenever we get the leave, Sunday, weekends, holidays, Independence Day, we have to go back to our heart. We have to do intense prayer. Then only after getting tired with the work and worship, we go to the sleep. And in that sleep also, we should not lose the divine mode. Go to the sleep with the remembrance of God. Throughout the day you are tired, go to the sleep with the remembrance of God. Go to the sleep with the divine mood, so that you remove the bad vibration in the sleep also. That bad vibration should not percolate into your subconscious mind, because once you sleep, your subconscious mind starts working. Keeping the subconscious mind pure is more important, so that the subconscious mind gives the dictation to the conscious mind when it gets up. So our dreams must be filled with the holy company, divine visions, luminous palms, etc. When we sleep into deep sleep, that is Sushupti what we call, we must experience the Turiya Avastha, that is the Brahma Avastha, even in the deep sleep. When we get up, we must give the auto-suggestion to our mind that I am divine, and we must give command to our mind not to see fault in others. We must resolve every day, love everyone, don't hate anyone, and I will be humble like a blade of grass. I feel divinity in all beings and each and everything. Because the world is like a battlefield, like a Kurukshetra. As soon as we start going out in the bus or in a car or in a vehicle to our workplace, the Kurukshetra starts. So you have to prepare ourselves with a kavacha to face the life, so that we will not lose our divine bliss. So whatever puja karma, etc., we have done from the morning should not get diluted in the world. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, smear the oil before you break open the jackfruit. So our mind should be prepared to open this jackfruit, to face this world, so that we will not forget the God. Once we start forgetting the God, we start becoming animals. Our behavior becomes more or less brute. We cover it, we don't show it, but our mind shows at what condition it is. So our puja karma which we did in our home should continue in the all walks of life. We should not become a pakanda karma. Even in puja also, we should not think of anything worldly. When our puja is really puja, then our actions also, the normal actions also become puja. So this, an uprising of our channels of energy, chakras what we call, we have to rise not only during the practices, also during the normal time, so that from the Vesti Upasana, from the Vesti cosmic Upasana, we should embrace the Samashti Upasana. Then we become more divine and divine. So seeing divinity in everything during the yoga and seeing everything as divine during when we open our eyes, even after realizing that we are limited now, but we are really unlimited. We are Atman, we are Brahman, we are divine ourselves. Slowly the mind manifests and remains in that condition of Jivan Mukta Viveka, Jivan Mukta Avastha forever. So it's a long journey, but we have to practice this every day. Then we can make our every moment of life blissful. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.